Maybe you're a buyer wondering if this is the best market and the time for you to buy, or maybe you're a seller and you're worried that the market is shifting in such a way that you're not going to be able to sell your house for what you thought you were going to get for it. Well, today in Home Buying Made Easy, we're going to take a look at the difference in both of those markets and what that means. I also have Rachel with me. I'm Michael. Rachel's here with me. I'm not Rachel.
No, you're not. Rachel. I am Rachel.
Yeah. And you kind of asked this a little bit different, I think, when we were talking earlier, but what exactly are you wanting to know about how the whole market thing works?
Yeah. So there's a lot of mortgage jargon, and I figured in Home Buying Made Easy, we could break down some of the terms and little words here and there. So today we're going to do buyer's market versus seller's market and what that means for someone buying a house and buying their first home or second home or investment home, wherever they are. So,
okay, cool. So do you remember COVID?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. Like just happened.
Just after COVID, house prices went through the roof. Sellers were able to just demand whatever they wanted. And what that meant was it was a 100% seller's market. And a seller's market is basically there's a time frame of inventory that determines what type of market is. So in 2021, 2022, even into 2023, we were in a seller's market because the housing inventory was so low. It had gotten down below 30 days. So, or right around 30 days. So between 30 and 45 days of inventory is not enough inventory when you have sellers that can't put them on the market fast enough. And then there's like a unbelievable amount of buyers that are seeking the same house. So you had people moving from different parts of the country, moving to say Tennessee or Texas or Florida. And as they were moving, the markets were just flooded with buyers who had sold their property at their previous place. They had all this cash to put into a new house. And so they come to a less expensive market and they pour this cash into the new market, which forced the buyers to increase their bids, increase their offers. So now their offers, instead of the offer being a normal offer with maybe a contingency for financing or a home inspection or an appraisal, they were waiving all of that stuff just so they could buy the house. They would just say, we'll buy the house. We don't care. Just here's $500,000 in cash, and they'd buy it outright. And it wasn't always the best decision, but that's what they were doing. That's a seller's market because there's not enough inventory for the amount of buyers that are out there. I read an article just yesterday that there are currently 500,000 more sellers than there are buyers right now across the country, which it's just an article. There's no telling if it's the truth.
Right.
But if you look at the statistics and you see what's happening in the market and you see that houses are sitting on the market longer and longer. And, here in the middle Tennessee area, we are currently at a 5.6. This was November. We were at 5.6%. I don't have December's numbers yet, but we were at 5.6%, 5.6 months worth of inventory. When we cross that threshold of 6 months, we are now in a buyer's market. That means the buyers have complete control.
Right.
Not complete control, but they have a lot of control. That means they can ask for reductions in price. They can ask for concessions. Concessions are like seller credit. So the seller can help pay for the closing costs or help pay for some of the fees that are associated with closing on a house. So when the buyers can start demanding that type of stuff and sellers are just like, please just take it off my hands. I was talking to a client the other day and they were like, you know what? If somebody came in and offered me this amount, I would take it right now. They're nervous. They really want to sell their house.
Mm-hmm.
So we're moving towards that buyer's market right now. We've been heading in that direction for quite a while. Part of it is because interest rates are high and buyers are nervous. They don't want to pay the higher payment. And basically home affordability is really the struggle.
Mm-hmm.
That's why as a mortgage broker, we try to make sure we're looking at what is home affordability and how can we best help as many people as possible get into an affordable home, not just automatically accept whatever's going on in the market, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, it does.
So what other questions do you have around the buyers and sellers market?
I feel like you covered most of it. With a first-time home buyer, you said that we're kind of like moving into a buyer's market, so there's a lot more that can be like pushed back against in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So what type of things are those? You said like seller concessions. What is that even like? What is that? And what are all of the like fees that can be or are usually negotiated?
Gotcha. So closing costs, they fluctuate depending on the price of the home and the area, what the taxes are going to be like, and that type of thing. But let's just say you have roughly a $300,000 house that's for sale. Then you're likely going to have around $9,000 to $10,000 worth of closing costs. The closing costs are going to be everything from the title company has title paperwork and they have a title insurance policy. There's a title search. There's several fees like that. There's an appraisal. There's usually some lender fees. You're paying for a credit report. You're paying for the taxes that you're going to be having to pay. There's a transfer tax. There's a mortgage tax. There's a lot of different things that you're paying for when you transfer a property. So if that's going to be about $10,000 at this point, where we are in most seller situations, they're willing to negotiate and help pay for that. There's also agent commissions that are paid. Those are usually, not always, but usually paid by the seller, or at least negotiated with the seller. In addition to that, the agent commissions and the closing costs, both of those can be a seller concession or a seller credit. So a buyer goes and says, hey, I'll pay $300,000 for the house, but I want you to pay $10,000 towards my closing costs. Then that $10,000 becomes a seller credit. The seller is now providing that money to pay the closing costs. So if you were buying a house and it was $300,000 and the seller's going to pay $10,000, now you have a down payment. As a first-time home buyer, let's say you want to put 3% down. You could take 3% of, you've got $300,000,
Mm-hmm.
so that's $9,000. That would be your 3% down payment, and then the seller's paying the rest of the money.
Hmm.
So you've spent your time renting and saving. You saved up $9,000, or maybe you got a gift from your parents.
Oh, wow.
No.
There's something I'm unaware of.
No, I don't have that, but okay. But let's say that you were getting a gift, or you saved up the money and you had the $9,000. You're going to buy a house. Now you, in a buyer's market, you can negotiate that, not the down payment, but the closing costs, and have the seller help pay for that.
Hmm.
Not in every situation,
Right.
but in many.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool.
Does that break it down a little bit better?
It does. It does. Yeah.
Cool. Well, if you have other questions about the home buying process, or you want to know more about how to home buying made easy, we're glad to help any way we can. All you have to do is send us a text, shoot us an email, or give us a call. We'll gladly help you any way we can. We'll see you next time, Rachel, and see y'all next time too on Home Buying Made Easy.